Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum teman-teman semua yang ada di Cerita Untung. Terima kasih untuk supportnya hari ini. Oke, saya sekarang di sini sendirian, tapi sebenarnya berdua dengan Mimi. Tapi Mimi karena mau ada live lagi, jadi kita tempat berbeda, tapi hati masih sama, gitu ya. Nah teman-teman semuanya, ya terima kasih untuk support, kritik dan saran. Tapi sekarang ini kita punya tamu yang Masya Allah luar biasa, karena ini kita bersilangan gitu ya antara beberapa negara. Sebelumnya kita akan tampilkan video profil dari tamu kita berikut ini. Ini dia.
Assalamualaikum teman-teman Cerita Untungs. Cerita Untungs kali ini berkesempatan sharing bareng Julian dan Zara. Pasangan Perancis Malaysia ini kisahnya tidak kalah inspiratif loh.
I was in a taxi in Abu Dhabi. I was listening to the radio and the Quran was playing. I didn't know it was the Quran. And I told the taxi driver, what is this music? It's touching my heart. And he said, it's not the music, it's the Quran.
Julian dulunya adalah seorang musisi jazz dan Zara adalah seorang wanita karir. Mereka memutuskan untuk melepaskan karir mereka dan membuat usaha bersama. Julian dan Zara dalam perjalanan dakwahnya membuat sebuah film dokumenter dengan melibatkan 50 mualaf dari 25 negara. Makin bikin penasaran kan? Seperti apa sih mereka sebenarnya? Yuk saksikan kisah mereka hanya di Cerita Untungs.
Iya itu dia, gitu. Tapi saya mau menyapa dulu istri saya di diem dari tadi. Assalamualaikum Mi.
Waalaikumsalam Pipi. Alhamdulillah hari ini kita nggak bisa bareng di satu tempat, tapi karena memang kita ada pekerjaan masing-masing. Jadi Mas Ari masih di kantor, terus aku juga sekarang masih ada di rumah karena ada pekerjaan di rumah. Jadi hari ini kita akan ngobrol-ngobrol nih dengan pasangan yang Masya Allah banget. Kita tuh bisa dibilang baru kenal kayak bisa 1-2 bulan ini ya. Tapi rasanya tuh kayak udah lama banget kenalnya. Karena mereka ini pasangan yang humble banget gitu. Cuma selalu seru gitu. Jadi udah humble, seru, dan benar-benar kita banyak banget kisah inspirasi yang bisa kita dapetin dari pasangan.
Ya, dan latar belakang mereka yang satu penyanyi Perancis, yang satu wanita karir Malaysia. Mereka bertemu dan membuat satu media namanya Halis Media Nusantara gitu ya. Dan pergerakannya luar biasa sampai kemudian ada hubungan kerjasama dengan Kesultanan Turki. Ini Masya Allah. Sekarang kita akan ketemu sama pasangan ini langsung. Bonjour Julian.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum everyone.
Assalamualaikum Julian, Zara.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, how are you guys?
Baik. Apa kabar kata Julian?
Apa kabar saudara-saudara di Indonesia? Saudara-saudari.
Apa kabar? Nah, ini menarik ya karena kalian juga berasal dari culture yang berbeda, dari latar belakang yang berbeda gitu ya. Dan dua negara yang berbeda, profesi yang berbeda. Ini benar-benar mix culture, mix background, everything gitu ya. Bisa jelasin nggak kalian di mana ketemunya? How do you guys met?
Kali pertama kita berjumpa di Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Sebenarnya jadinya Julian lepas dia masuk Islam, memeluk Islam sudah 2 tahun. Maknanya dia memeluk Islam secara sendiri, bukan sebab nak kahwin atau apa-apa macam tu. Jadi lepas 2 tahun dia memeluk Islam di Philippines.
Oh, Masya Allah.
Nah, lepas 2 tahun dia rasa macam duduk negara yang bukan majoritinya Islam agak susah sebagai seorang Muslim yang baru khususnya kan. Jadi dia pun berhijrah ke Malaysia. Ya, so kita orang kami berjumpa di konferensi ya. Konferensi di Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Kita berjumpa hanya 3 kali. Lepas tu
3 kali? Okay.
3 kali jumpa.
And then
terus kahwin.
Oh, 3 kali ketemu langsung menikah mereka, Mas.
3 kali ketemu, tanya Julian masa tu dia datang sama laptop terus siap 100 soalan. 100 soalan untuk tanya kepada bakal isterinya. Jadi dia pun tanya saya 100 soalan, kita sama-sama jawab soalan tu, just untuk kita check are we on the same page on most things, especially with regards to Islam, how we practice Islam and all those things. So we went through the question sama-sama 100 soalan. Lepas tu alhamdulillah terus dia pergi, masa tu bapa saya bekerja di Jeddah. Bapa saya kapten pilot juruterbang, jadinya dia bawa flight untuk umrah dengan Hajj masa tu. So masa tu bapa saya di Jeddah dan Julian sebab dia dah okey nak kahwin, dia fly ke Jeddah untuk ambil izin.
Oh, Masyaallah.
It was already planned.
Berarti bisa dibilang Julian khusus untuk ke Jeddah karena minta izin untuk menikah dengan kamu gitu ya?
Iya.
Masyaallah. What make you so sure she's your destiny, Julian?
Yeah.
What makes you think she was your destiny? So when I met him, first time when I saw him, I felt a sense of familiarity. Macam pernah jumpa, macam tu, macam kenal, macam soul. Katanya macam soulmate orang kata kan. So I tahu bila orang kata dulu kan orang kata bila you jumpa you akan tahu. Kita masa tu kita orang macam bila orang cakap macam tu saya pun macam annoying lah. I don't understand what do you mean when you know gitu. Macam annoying kan bila orang cakap macam tu. Tapi sebenarnya memang macam tu. Memang begitu. So bila jumpa tu kita rasa macam kenal sudah lama. Dan itulah kalau dah jodohkan maksudnya kita dah bersama di jannah lah. Jadi sebab itulah kita bila berjumpa tu you just kenal balik.
You try to learn French.
Yes. No, Julian was saying he became Muslim the same time I learned French. I took French without knowing his French. I don't know him. I just took it because I felt in my heart to take French. And then Julian converted the same time, but we only met 2 years after in a conference. And
another thing that was amazing is the Ramadan. You know, because Ari was asking me what was the sign. Talk about it. When my first Ramadan, we were in the same masjid for itikaf, but we didn't know each other.
Yeah.
So
when we first even
Julian, you were a famous singer at that moment, some years back. What makes you choose Islam at that moment? Why Islam? Who introduced Islam to you anyway?
Yeah, I was in the Philippines, which is a very big Christian country, so there was not so many Muslims. I never met a Muslim in the Philippines, but I was doing music, but I had some time to check online, and I realized there was some stuff that was a bit off in terms of 9/11. I think a lot of converts, they gravitate around that because the official story is a bit dubious. So I started to realize the Muslims are actually not the bad guys. They're actually oppressed most of the time around the world. And the main thing is I watched a lot of documentaries, and suddenly I started to realize the Quran is the word of God. It's untouched. I mean, it has not been changed. So that's what made me convinced. And again, a lot of signs. You know, I'm someone who operates by sign. So I married my wife Zara through many signs. Like, it was so obvious she was the one. The same thing, it was so obvious Islam was the truth. And when you start to dig a bit further, you realize that you don't have a choice if you are a truly sincere person. Once the Quran starts to pull you, it's very hard to say no. So I made my own research. It took me 6 months. And I first came back to Christianity. I wanted to baptize again, and then I realized there are a couple of things in Christianity that don't make sense to me, and I finally took my Shahada right after Ramadan 2012.
How did you find Quran is the word of God? I mean, how did you find? I mean, the core, the thing that you believe that this is the word of God.
Well, there's a lot of things that the Quran talks about that has only been discovered now. There are a lot of things that, you know, it's impossible that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam knew about these things without the help of God. You know, for example, the stages when the mother is pregnant, there are different stages. The fact that the salt sea and the river sea, they don't mix. Soft water and salty water don't mix in the ocean and things like that. So there are a lot of signs, and then there are mathematics signs. For example, Allah says earth 23 times, and He says water 23 times. He said black 50 times. He said white. So it's so perfect, and
Numerology.
it has historical. There are things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said will happen, and it happened in the future. So it's really a godly revelation. On the contrary, the Bible has a lot of scientific and historical facts that are wrong, like especially about the prophets, where in the Bible some of the prophets are portrayed as big sinners, which is not the case. You know, we believe in this. And I would say, to finish, that the thing that triggered me is most of the prophets that the Quran mentioned are the prophets we know it in the Bible. And I thought it was a totally different religion. And I realized, wait a minute, Maryam, chapter 19, Noah, all the prophets, Musa, but I know so much, Jesus, they are all mentioned in the Quran. So, I mean, it's very easy to connect the dots. You know, it's just, if you pay attention, I was blessed not to be in the rat race, 9 to 5. So I had time on my hands to really ask myself the hard question. And alhamdulillah, I became Muslim.
Mashallah, there is so many connections that probably link one another that we could find in Quran. And I mean, in what moment that you, I mean, somebody introduced you to Quran, or are you searching for Islam, or what? The first time about Islam, somebody introduced you to Quran, or you just find it, or everything, or by searching, or things like that?
You know, I was a reporter. Before being a singer, I was an international reporter. So I traveled a lot. I walked 1,000 kilometers for 30 days to try to find God in Spain. You know, it's a famous Christian pilgrim. The first time someone really told me to become Muslim, it was in a taxi in Abu Dhabi. I was listening to the radio, and the Quran was playing. I didn't know it was the Quran. And I told the taxi driver, what is this music? It's touching my heart. And he said, it's not the music, it's the Quran. And I was like, wow, it's really impressive. And he stopped the car. He stopped the car. He said, brother, we've been talking for 10 minutes. He said, you're a good man, save yourself and your family from the hellfire. I will always remember. And he said that to me more than 10 years ago, and I think 15 years ago. And it was the first time someone urged me to become Muslim. And at first, I didn't take him seriously. He asked me to promise him that I will read the Quran. And I said, yeah, okay. Just, you know, but...
it would be really nice if we find that taxi driver.
Yeah.
Because he's been giving out interviews talking about this story in many, many channels. And it would be so amazing, isn't it?
Maybe we can make a film about that.
Maybe the taxi driver would be commenting, it's me.
You still know the number of the taxi driver?
No, he just dropped him off at the masjid.
You know, for me, it was just one. I didn't pay attention at the beginning, you know, and then it's only when I became Muslim, I backtracked my life. I said, okay, what Allah did to me for me to come up to that conclusion that Islam is the truth and I must become a Muslim. So this was one part. Also, many times I was working in countries like Cyprus or Tanzania, and the Azan was playing, and that also was pulling me. The Azan had a very deep connection with my soul, and I thought, I was almost jealous at the Muslim, and I was like, boy, I wish I would be among you guys, but I thought it was a religion for Arabs. I really thought only Arabs practiced
until a certain point.
I was blessed to travel, you know, like once you travel, you can clearly see the truth very quickly, but if you're living in your country and just getting brainwashed by the propaganda, like most of the Western countries, well, you end up missing the point.
Yeah, I see. But I think that Allah really loves you because He gave you the code in everywhere you go. It was like the signs or everything that like Allah wants you to be a Muslim with the code, a little bit code by code, and then this is the beauty of Islam. Everybody wants to do the good deeds and do it and forget it. I mean, if you track back, I mean the first time you introduced by Quran is by a taxi driver. Then we don't know where he is now, but the pahala keep on rolling for him. Yeah, still till now. Yeah.
Since I became Muslim, I did a lot of dawah. Now I've been calling to Islam many taxi drivers. I remember especially the first year, every Filipino.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, Manila is like Jakarta. It's like big traffic jam. And sometimes I stay stuck for 2 hours with a taxi driver, and he speak English like me, Filipino Christian.
One taxi driver took shahada from me.
Yeah, sometimes one taxi, but they kind of sometimes take the shahada, just leave me alone. Okay, Ashhadu. But yeah, I mean, my driver, I had a personal driver back then, he took his shahada. At first I was very bullish to bring people to Islam. I'm still very bullish about it, but a little bit less because I feel like I need to clean the house first. I mean, the Muslim community is a bit messed up. So I want to kind of provide a good environment for new Muslims to come. There are a lot of dangerous ideas out there, and you know, you just have to make sure that new Muslim will come in a safety environment with the Sirat al-Mustaqim, to be on the right path within Islam, and this is what I'm more focusing right now.
Mashallah, and now you guys are a couple that really, I mean, have a full of spirit in doing the da'wah. I'm sorry, the connection to Venita is lost, I think, and we try to connect again. And then, how do you guys, I mean, you met each other with the same spirit from a different country, and you made some kind of a foundation, that the media foundation, they're doing the da'wah. So what is the first time that you guys do this kind of project?
Yeah, well, the first time, us as born Muslim, I think you know that Ari and Fanita were in the same camp, in the sense like we were born Muslim, and then we kind of drift off a little bit, and then we kind of discovered it back a little bit.
That's why we made Hijrah.
We made Hijrah from Jahiliyyah to a better place, Alhamdulillah. So when I got married to him, I really, it's like you catch on the bug of his passion for dawah and his passion for Islam, basically, because converts, they are a little bit more passionate most of the time. So then I truly understand the perspective of a convert, the perspective of a non-Muslim Westerner. What do they think? How they would react to a certain thing. So I felt, I should do something about it, because I felt like, because I was a singer myself, I was organizing a lot of events when I first started working, and I thought, why not I use my energy and skills for the sake of Allah.
She left the biggest company in Malaysia, Petronas, with right now, if she would have stayed, she would be Twin Towers right now. But she that's why I wanted to marry her, because she was willing to sacrifice a big, promising career as a mechanical engineer to work chemical engineer, and to work for NGO, a non-profit organization with a very small salary. So when I found out about that, I was like, wow, this woman is special.
And Allah rewarded me, because when you make hijrah for the sake of Allah, you live in a very important job. I didn't know the pay was how it's gonna be, but I knew if I stayed, I would have earned big time. But Allah rewarded me with him.
Big time.
He pays for everything.
Masya Allah. Teman-teman, kalau kita dengar beberapa cerita teman-teman kita mengenai hijrah dengan penuh pengorbanan, pasti selalu ada reward dan hadiah yang di luar dari ekspektasi. Ini sebagai salah satu contohnya teman-teman semuanya. Jadi kalau teman-teman lihat episode-episode sebelumnya, pasti gitu, cobaan, dan ada reward yang luar biasa besar. Nah, sekarang kalau kita tanya lagi nih, ini menarik juga nih, Julian, why did you choose Malaysia? Why did you just doing your project, or probably your mission, your Islamic project in France?
Why Malaysia? Why not another country, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was living in the Philippines for 4 years, and when I became Muslim, I look at the map and I said where I'm going to live, because after a few months, I realized Philippines was not a good environment for me, you know, like, so I looked at Turkey first, but it didn't really work out because I wanted to be closer to my family. I haven't seen my family for many years, but then I thought, I like the fact Philippines, Malaysia, so I traveled to Malaysia. I did a few projects in Malaysia, and I like the people. I thought it's not too far from Philippines. It's like an island vibe, you know, like an island boy type.
Yeah.
So so I thought, you know, Malaysia, they speak English. They are, you know, the economy is quite good. So I thought I would be able to grow as a Muslim better than if I go back to France, for example, or even Turkey. And Malaysians are very welcoming people. They don't discriminate. Most of the time, they really, you know, take you as you are. And if you have something good to bring on the table for Islam, they will listen and they will eventually support. So, alhamdulillah, I have to say that Malaysians have been supporting my projects, my ideas, and that's why I keep on coming back, you know, because they are, I mean, not only Malaysians, you guys, the Indonesian as well, you guys are known for that. It's just because of the language, you know, it's a bit harder to live in Indonesia, and I spent some big time in traffic jam in Jakarta. I was like, wow, it's worse than Manila. So I thought, wow, I can't take that stuff. But I love Indonesia. I'm a surfer. I've been in Bali many times, surfing in Uluwatu. I have a strong connection with Indonesia, but I thought
we went to Aceh.
Malaysia is a bit, you know, many scholars who speak English, Americans, British, they are all coming in Malaysia to do conferences. There are many organizations that are set up in Malaysia, so I thought it makes more sense to live in Malaysia.
Oh, I see. Then, and on the other hand, you met your wife there, yeah? So you just to. Oh, really? So you the ancestor of the Highlander? You know you're the what do you call it? The ancestor of the Highlander? You know Mel Gibson? He's the Scottish hero, the Highlander,
Highlander, yeah, I know it. Scottish people are very strong.
Oh, Masyaallah. So there is some ideas for some Indonesian about your country, France, that probably living in France as a Muslim is quite hard because it's quite Islamophobic issue that happened on the country. Well, when I was there, I think there's so many Muslims there. There's so many Muslims. I mean, we can find the huge mosque there, and then there are so many Muslim population in the Paris. Is there really happen the Islamophobic issue in France?
Yeah, you want to talk about it?
Well, we did experience a few personally ourselves, actually.
I mean, in your opinion, as a French guy, in your opinion, is it only the news, only the issue, or it happens on the media, or really happen on the real life? In your opinion? There's
always been Islamophobia. It increased in 2015 with Charlie Hebdo. There was a group of journalists who are known to make fun of Islam and other religions, and they got killed, and you know, Islam was blamed for this. The Muslims were blamed for this, and after that, many other incidents like this happened, and of course that increased Islamophobia. I always say we had 10 small 9/11 in France in 5 years. So it's not like so impressive like 9/11, but it happens every year, and the people were starting to get very tired of it. And obviously the people who are not so educated, who don't understand much, they become Islamophobic, and I mean, at some point when you open the radio or watch TV, in 1 hour time, there was a time you can always listen someone who's going to bash Islam. So
that's true. Even me, I was shocked by the amount of you on the radio in France, like you cannot pass 1 hour without somebody coming in and bashing Islam.
Interestingly, in France, we have the largest population of Muslim in Europe, but we also have the largest population of Jew in the world. Sorry, in Europe.
In Europe, yeah. So it's quite balanced. Yeah. Then with that,
the money, the media, and the banks, and we have the numbers, but now that's it. You know?
Yeah. I see. With that kind of slander about Islam, but you guys, I mean, doing the project, Muslims project, as we know that becoming an event organizer is not an easy job, but becoming a Muslim event organizer for Muslim events is more an easy job to do. I mean, more than that, more what do you call it? It's harder. It's harder to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, as we know that there's so many bad words about Islam and things like that. How do you guys manage that? And why do you guys choose that problems? I mean, if you could say it's problem, why do you jump into the problem that not many people choose that kind of project?
We don't really choose. You know, Allah is the one who decides, and we try to escape. Allah slapped us.
True story.
True story. So, well, you know, when I became Muslim, I did a lot of dawah, but I realized there's no support. You know, there's no after sale. So people take the shahada, and then the Muslim has to do practically everything. It doesn't have a community. The first Quran I bought was a Shia Quran. So I was reading the Quran and they were insulted Aisha, adalah, and I was like, what's going on? So there's a lot of different holes, pitfalls that a new Muslim can fall. And there have been statistics that after 3 years, 20-30% of new Muslims in the West are leaving Islam. You know, because it's very hard to sustain the pressure of Islamophobia. They're getting fired, their family disown them sometimes. So I thought, yes, I could have tried to become famous with my shahada. I know it's very trendy. I know there are a lot of new Muslims who are trying to do that. They even travel sometime to your country for this, but I didn't choose to do that. I thought I would rather support new Muslims who are struggling, because there's no point to do shahada and dawah if there is no a strong support system. So that's why we created New Muslim Care, and Zara, Mashallah, she helped me a lot to set up. We created TV shows for Mualaf. We created retreats. We gave a New Muslim welcome gift to them. We're shipping them around the world. So we did that for 2 years.
Counseling, because a lot of them need help in finding their identity. You know, when somebody becomes Muslim, they struggle with identity crisis, actually. Like, you know, between culture and religion, and between self and Muslim and not Muslim, and they really struggle with that. So we were on the ground to really even coach one-on-one, small group. We did a buddy system to just help them, make them feel not so lonely, make them feel welcome and everything like that.
And the Christians are really good at that, by the way. Yeah. The Christians are really good. When you try to become Christians, I mean, the church I went to, they were taking care of me. They were picking me up every Sunday to the church. They were having a buddy who read the Bible with me, you know? So, but most of the Muslims, there's a group, specific group, but they love to give you ilm, knowledge, like books to learn. They don't care about being your friend. They don't care to spend time with you. So we realized that what the converts need the most, the muhalaf need the most, is friends, is a real community where they can have iftar, and they don't need to travel around the world. Actually, in each country, they should be, and this is the job of the masjid, to provide that type of support. The problem is the masjid and the imam are not friends to take care of the Muslim. They don't understand them.
And I think it's really lacking nowadays, because Islam has always been a community-based religion or way of life, as we say. But nowadays it's very individualistic. So it's all about the man and his wife, you know, and then there's nothing else like a lot of converts, they stick with their spouse and that's it. You know, they don't really mingle and they don't behave well in the society actually, because they are not integrated well, and then they become, actually some of them become extreme in their ideas because they don't mingle with the community that is that has been helping converts and somebody to talk to make sure you're on the right path.
You know, it's basically see Islam as a company. Allah is the boss. He hires people and he fires some. He fires. There are millions of Muslims leaving Islam every year, but there are millions of non-Muslims coming every year. So we have a big company, 2 billion staff, and the people who are coming, we don't care about them. We
put them in the basement park.
We put them in the basement park and say, okay, Mashallah, you became Muslim now, goodbye. I have to leave. So this is why we are not performing as a ummah. I always say the new Muslim Walaf, we are the new blood of the body. Yeah? We are new blood coming inside the body of the ummah. If this new blood doesn't move properly and doesn't perform properly, the ummah is going to get sick and the ummah is not going to perform. So.
And one of the things we also do in Malaysia, because a lot of Western converts come here from Europe, especially from Europe. So they come here and they become Muslim, and because they are usually amazed by the adab of the people of Nusantara, of Malaysia, Indonesia. So they become Muslim, and we try to teach them a little bit of the adab of the region, the Nusantara, which a lot of people actually praise. So we try to teach them about ahlak and adab. Don't focus on knowledge first, because a lot of converts make the mistake of wanting to learn so much, and they break people's hearts, or they are rude, or they are not aware of how they conduct themselves, that is actually not well perceived by the society.
And then they become like a bida machine.
So we try to teach them the beauty culture of Nusantara. This is what we also want to do with Halis Media Nusantara, because we really want to teach the beauty of this region, because we are not racist, we're not discriminative, we're very welcoming. But at the same time, we also want our culture to be known and respected.
You see, a lot of people, they judge the Malays and the Indonesian for Islam. But in reality, I can tell you, I travel around the world, and it's not because my wife is Malay or you guys are Indonesian, and the proof of that is Hajj and Umrah. Who is the race that is the nicest and the most, with the most adab during Hajj, which means who really conduct themselves the best, is the Malays and the Indonesians. And everybody knows that, by the way, in the Ummah. Everybody knows that. Like,
we've asked these questions.
I'm not the only one to say it. Many American converts, American speakers, scholars with millions of followers, they praise Malaysia, Indonesians for the adab. So that's why, like, the first thing you must learn as a convert is adab. Is not ilm.
And akhlaq.
No, and that's what the scholars are learning too. Bukhari, before becoming Bukhari, his mother insisted that he follow the sheikh for 10 years just to observe the adab. But now we are teaching the converts a bit of knowledge. As soon as they know a little bit, they start to judge the born Muslim. They start to say, what you're doing is bidah, what you're doing is haram. But the guy is still smoking, for example, or the guy is still earning money with haram means, but he's still judging you. You know, so this is what's happening now. And this is totally wrong. This is not how Islam should be taught. Even to our kids. What do we teach to our kids? Are we teaching ilm first or adab?
Manners. For the parents, for the kids.
It's the same for converts, you know, but so
converts should spend time with the Muslim community and to learn, because you can't learn adab and akhlaq from books. You have to learn from it.
You need to learn from someone. So this is the thing we've done. So just to make it short, we did New Muslim Care with an organization, and they didn't believe in the vision. So we thought, okay, we're wasting our time with them. We're gonna create our own organization, Halis Media, which means sincerity, pure in Turkish. And we wanted to mean Ikhlas Media. And we're going to do a film about converts from all over the world, 50 converts from 25 countries in 6 continents. And it was a big success around the world. and then we did a New Muslim World Conference with only convert speakers in UK, in Manchester, and also online. So we've done this project, and it was very much appreciated by the Ummah, and we got a bit tired with this because it's very difficult to handle converts, especially in this era of YouTube, where now a lot of people understood they can make a lot of views by becoming Muslims, and now we don't really know the sincerity of the people. So
because we've dealt with converts for almost 10 years, and we really see the difference between the old generation convert and the new generation. What we mean by new generation is as soon as you become Muslim, you become very famous, and there is a danger that comes with it from our own experiences. There's a lot of them who get fame instantly. They jump into a lot of things that is not correct, and it's definitely a difference because we've been handling converts for 10 years. It's really not the same.
It took me 1 year to declare my Shahada online, so I hide it for 1 year, because when you become Muslim, there's a lot of shaitan coming to you, so you better be prepared. You know, it's not easy. You know, so it's very wise to wait a little bit. But now there are people who are non-Muslims. For months they make hundreds of videos about Islam. We don't know for what reason, and then they become Muslim, and suddenly they become almost like the porte-parole, comment dire, spokesperson of the Ummah. I mean, the question. Who the freak are you? You know, like, I'm sorry, but who are you to now call out people who have been Muslim for generations? You know, and something we learned with the Ottomans is that when you were becoming a convert in the time of the Ottoman, you were not allowed to teach Islam only after one generation.
Only in the second generation.
Which means you have to let your generation pass, to let on your kids, so it has to sink in.
Thinking in the cell, thinking in DNA, thinking in the adalah, then only the children or the grandchildren can teach.
But now you have converts, they become Muslim after 2 years, and they start to make fatwa about a whole country, for example, or about ustas who have been giving knowledge for years, and they come and they say this is wrong.
We acknowledge this issue because we've been in this scene, and it's really becoming a problem actually. A lot of new Muslim, non-Muslim are using Islam to get views and to use topics to get millions and millions of views, and we don't really know the legitimacy of those people.
So
and they use a lot of like clickbaits. You know, our Islam is not cheap.
Yeah,
it's not.
The problem is both converts have made Islam very cheap. Sometimes I see they put, "I'm leaving Islam." When you click on the video, they don't leave Islam. It's just to get the views. And you and I, we are marketers. It's okay to have a nice title to get the people to watch what you do. But you cannot lie also. You cannot deceive the people just to get views. And so we still want to work with mu'alaf, but we're going to be very selective. And the ones who don't have adab, I don't care how many millions of subscribers they have. I don't want to work with these people. I'm not interested with them. But the good ones, we still have to be there for them. Because being a mu'alaf doesn't give you the right to be rude and disrespectful. You know?
Actually, we tried to solve this problem because we saw from our old service to the new ones, it's very different. So we tried to solve the problem. We flew in some converts to give them classes and give them community and give them a whole experience of history. Because a lot of the Muslims get tricked on their own history. As we say, if you don't learn your own history, the wrong ones are going to write it for you. So that's one of the focuses of Halis Media, is to teach history. So we tried, and it's really difficult because one, fame has consumed someone. Very, very
fame is like a poison. If you don't know how to handle it, it can really bite you by, you know.
Yeah. We've experienced a few, and now we just a bit
traumatized. But we to be honest, we didn't want to do anything of that. We moved to the jungle at some point. We wanted to live on our own, but then Allah put us back, and some people asked us to do some work, and we thought, okay.
So there are two kinds of mu'alaf, yeah. The one who lives for Islam and the one who lives from Islam.
Yes,
Exactly.
that you summarized it very well.
That's a very
Jadi teman-teman semua ya kadang-kadang jadi kayak star syndrome ya teman-teman semua ya. Kadang-kadang kalau misalnya jadi mualaf kan jadi terkenal. Pada saat terkenal kemudian banyak pengikut. Pada saat banyak pengikut kemudian memanfaatkan momen ketika terkenal tersebut kemudian banyak-banyakin pengikut. Nah itu dia. Ada juga yang memang kepengen jadi membesarkan Islam, tapi kemudian orang mengikuti karena apa yang dilakukan ini Masya Allah. Jadi memang kalau guru-guru dulu bilang adab sebelum ilmu, adab first and then ilmu. And then Masya Allah, you guys just so many work to do back then with some mualafs. And is there any experience that probably there are bad experience, there are good experience. Probably there are so many fighters out there that probably also work for Islamic project, and then there are some obstacles that probably they can face the same way like you guys. So is there any experience that probably the best experience and the worst experience that you had ever?
itu yang sebenarnya membuatkan orang non-Muslim tak suka pada Islam. Sebenarnya it's not because they are not aware of Islam. Okay, the media does do the propaganda, it's true, but a lot of the cases, the Islamophobia is coming from the Muslims themselves who don't practice Islam properly.
Every Muslim is born with a mission, with something to do. It's not like we are special or you're special. No. Every Muslim that is listening to this podcast, they must understand they are very powerful people. They can do a lot of things and there's no excuse. You must tap inside yourself, ask Allah in this Ramadan, oh Allah, I want to serve you, show me how to do it the best.